My people, what is going on? This is Kari with Temple of Geek, and I am here at the New York City red carpet premiere event for Dune Prophecy. I'm going to be interviewing some of the amazing cast and crew on the red carpet, so stay tuned for that and much more. The series is adapting, the book we already know, but most of it takes place when everybody's a little bit younger, but it also added like a time lapse 30 years later or up.
Yeah.
What was the process of combining what was already written with writing your own story?
I feel like it was really the best of both worlds, like a kind of dream of an adaptation, because we had a tremendous world building in Frank Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson's book, Sisterhood of Dune, and the Schools trilogy. And that's where our characters are rooted, that's where they come from. And then to imagine, with the help of the Herbert estate, where they might be, a few decades later was exhilarating, because then we really could shape it for television. We really had room to develop story. And so as a writer, it felt like just a really fun challenge to have. You never felt boxed in, but you never felt untethered either.
And how do you think the series will appeal to both longtime fans and newcomers to the universe?
Well, I certainly hope it'll appeal to longtime fans, because we really try to, not dumb it down and give Dune lore its due, and it's made with a tremendous amount of love for the universe of Dune. And at the same time, we really want to tell a story that if you were going to discover it, and you were going to discover it fresh with these characters, that our story would be compelling enough that we could bring you along for the ride and sort of open the door to Dune. And it really was threading a needle, and we quite consciously tried to do it, and I hope everybody can watch and enjoy.
Amazing. And what are you most excited for the fans to see?
Well, I think that there's just tremendous Dune spectacle, and I'm very excited for fans to see that. But I have to say, for me, at the end of the day, what the cast has done with these roles, I think that they are just unbelievable to watch. I think these are some of the best actors I've ever had the privilege of working with, and I think what they've done is very special.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Tell me your experience working on such a big epic, story that is Dune Prophecy.
Well, listen, first of all, I'm so happy and proud to work on that. And it is epic, it is big, and everything is very big, actually. It's bigger than you think, because when you see it, there's a lot of VFX, but actually most of it is real, meaning it's shot on sets. So the production designer, Tom Mayer, who created this beautiful, huge sets, it was a challenge, of course, to put our actors into these giant boxes and make them and follow them in a very intimate way as much as possible. So yeah, that was like, the number one task.
No, of course. Dune being such a beautiful shot movie, it's amazing, the cinematography, the pictures and everything. What were some of the challenges that you might have had bringing that type of, same art into the series?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think Dune movies are, one of my favorites for sure. So, and then the question we had all together as the creators of that show was, what do we do? And the answer was like, we have to stay in the family. We have to stay somewhere there, because first of all, it's so well achieved. Second of all, it's a complex story, and you don't want people to starting a new complete look. So in my world, I try to, without, of course, doing what they've done, but I really try hard to keep the same feel. That means a camera that is more symmetrical if possible, a light that is softer if possible, it's not over the top, always keeping it as subtle as possible. And then I really made sure I worked into bringing the Sisterhood in a tonality which is colder for the moment, let's call it colder, and the Imperium more sunny and more shafty, and then very important, because there's more scene and there's more storyline in a TV series than a movie, and you gotta keep the audience in a simple place, and it has to follow nicely and simply, and you cannot ask yourself, where are you, what's going on? So this is also one of the tasks I'm doing. I'm trying to keep it focused, simple, and also focus on the eyes of the actors and the lens that we feel that we're close to them. And for doing this, you see I use anamorphic lens, so the camera is actually closer to an actor than a spherical lens, for example. So this is technical, but these are the things that we do as filmmakers, cinematographers, to help the audience follow the story as much as possible.
And how was it working with the cast and in being able to achieve, all of this that you were trying to accomplish with, the atmosphere, their facial expressions, their emotions?
First of all, the cast was all lovely. It was fun. So it was a very big job to do, but with a lot of passion and a lot of good vibes. So the actors with me, I work with them very closely as a cinematographer. I right away get a way of working with them to make sure that they also follow what I need for them to be in a good place and look as good as possible. But look good doesn't mean to be beautiful. It means to be a stronger character as possible. And there's a path to follow on set. And I was trying to make sure they would be partner with me to make sure that we all do this together. And it worked very nicely. So I had a very important relationship with most actors, I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, so I wanted to ask, what about this character enticed you to be like, I want to play this person?
Gosh, I think it was about these women are coming to the Sisterhood and they go through this really strenuous mental and physical training. And in my mind, I was like, well, that's kind of just an extension of how we are as women, our mental strength and what our bodies are capable of. And that was something that I really wanted to that was really interesting and kind of honoring and leaning into that. That was a huge part of it.
So do you think that the Sisterhood being, mostly women and they want to make sure that they have this power?
Yeah.
Is this something that motivates sister, you being a sister, your character, to want to achieve more than what is being given to her?
Yeah, I think it is. It's don't underestimate, women. That's the thing. And it's you have no idea what we're capable of. And they go in and they go and set it their ways to prove how valuable they are. And yeah.
No, of course. So with Dune, is this something that is new to you, or did you grow up with the books or the original 1984 movie, or just the latest movie?
No, it's the latest movie that I saw. I also saw Jodorowsky's Dune, which is the documentary about the filmmaker Jodorowsky who tried to make it. But apart from that, it was whole new territory for me.
So what was the experience like? Getting into the Dune universe, which is being so epic.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, kind of pinch yourself. You kind of go oh God, is this actually real? And you go in and you see everyone working so hard, the artistry behind the sets, the amazing set design, the detail that everyone's put in, and it's just the world building is just so inspiring for us as actors and have that as our playground. It's incredible.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, being that this family has such, not the most positive,
What you mean?
No. We all love the Harkonnen, especially later on.
Yeah.
What was it like taking on such a role with, playing a character with such an infamous family?
I mean, it's daunting because we've become used to the Harkonnens in the films, and you can kind of watch them and almost not see a trace of humanity in them. You're they've made themselves so inhumane that they've almost become robots themselves. They're just destroying machines, basically. So it was really interesting to be handed a character who's human and flawed, and I mean they're flawed, but they're only flawed. But you can kind of sympathize with Harrow at times, and trying to fit that into the world, into the same world, and find these threads through the world was really interesting, a really nice challenge.
Yeah, and for Harrow, what are his motivations during the series? What is he looking for?
Well, on the one hand, he wants to restore the family name because it's been dragged through the mud, and the family are very low status at this stage, and they've been accused of things that they don't think they did, and it's a tough world for a Harkonnen at this stage. But also, he's in it for himself, and he wants. I think the main reason he wants the Harkonnen name to be restored is so that he can be the head of the family. I think all the Harkonnen men want that. They want to be They want to be in charge. They feel like they should be in charge, and it's probably something that's been handed down from generation to generation, that there will be a Baron Harkonnen, head of the Harkonnen family, and they'll be all powerful. So to be this kind of pathetic worm at the beginning of the show, it really doesn't feel good.
Yeah, of course. And are we going to get to kind of see glimpses of how we ended up with the Harkonnens that we have in the movies later on?
Yeah, I think this will be a really satisfying watch for people who want to know how they got where they got, because I think we start to chart what can make people become totally inhumane, which is it's really interesting and scary.
And what is one of your more favorite moments on set?
There was a very funny moment where Mark Addy, who plays my great uncle Evgeny Harkonnen, he was in this kind of hover wheelchair, which was controlled by a PlayStation controller, which is funny in itself. But it kept stalling, and there was many takes of him trying to get into the room and just going like this. It was just very, very funny.
Was it captured on video?
I think it was captured. I don't know if it got kept.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Have a great night.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Okay, so what was the experience like for you, taking on a role in such an epic series in the Dune universe?
Yeah, I mean, it was just incredible being part of it. I definitely underestimated just how huge the Dune universe, or the Duneverse, is. But yeah, it feels like such an honor to be part of something so huge and that has such an incredible fan base already. And I just hope that people love it, and I think they will. I think it's awesome. I've seen the first 4 episodes, and I was blown away. Like the first episode, I literally was like, and I was like, wait a minute, I read this, but it just looks so incredible.
Very different when you get to see it on the big screen, right?
Yeah.
So you play Sister Theodosia.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about her character and what are her motivations within the Sisterhood?
Yeah, I mean, she's a very interesting character, and that there's a lot bubbling under the surface that we don't find out what's going on until later on in the series. But she's competitive. She's proving herself. She's very, very capable. I think she's the kind of person who's top of her class. She's front and center for everything. First one to answer the questions. But we realise that there's a lot more going on for her. I think the Sisterhood's a bit of a sanctuary, and she wants to prove that she's worthy to be there. But yeah, there's some really interesting things we find out about her later on.
And can you tell me a little bit, what were some of your favorite moments while you were filming, or during the whole story?
Definitely working with Emily. There's a lot of scenes we do, and it's just me and Emily, who plays Valia, and she's just awesome. But there was moments of us just walking down the dark nights with our cape and our hood, and I felt like she was Batman and I was Robin, and we're these superheroes about to conquer the world. So yeah.
So the Sister Theodosia has somewhat close relationship with
Definitely, yeah, definitely. There's definitely a reason there. Valia's the reason why she's there, and I think Theodosia's Valia's favorite student. Teachers there. Yeah, we'll go with it.
So, what are you most excited for the fans to see in the whole story?
There are so many exciting secrets or surprises, and it's every episode there's literal gasp moments, there's tears. It's so much is covered in this series. It's incredible. In episode 2 there's an amazing sequence with Sister Lila. It's just, there's so much juice to and there's so much to get your teeth into within this series. I just think it's brilliant.
I can't wait. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, have a good night.
Take care.
Very big fan. I love you as Queen Constance.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
And so speaking of, how was it to come back? What was the experience coming back to play such a big role again as royalty and emperor in such a big universe as the universe?
Oh, it's a great challenge. I mean, I just love the fact that Alison writes such incredible, strong female characters, and so I just felt that she wrote this character that was incredibly dynamic and that's always twisting and turning, and you never know what to expect with her. So that for me was a great privilege.
Amazing. So can you tell us a bit about her character and what might be her motivations in the series?
So Natalia is really defined by her daughter's future. She's a really strong woman and she's incredibly frustrated with her husband's overdependency on the Sisterhood. So, she's one of the few characters, apart from obviously Desmond Hart, who's incredibly suspicious of the Sisterhood. And that sets some really interesting relations up for the first episode. I don't want to give any spoilers.
No, of course. So do you think that, the Emperor, as being the Empress, do you think she feels a little bit left out and not with her, the Emperor being so reliant on the Sisterhood? Is this something that is going to play later on and maybe,
It might
motivation?
do. It might do. I mean, I think at the beginning we meet a woman who's incredibly frustrated. Maybe there's an element of the frustrated housewife, dare I say it, I think she has to be very careful about how she maneuvers and negotiates her position and her way out of that, very frustrating situation.
So what was it like for you in the, with the cast and the crew, some of your favorite moments was doing filming?
Well, it was an honor to work with Emily. I mean, she's one of my acting heroes, and, Mark Strong was just the most sublime acting partner to have and to do most of my scenes with. So, yeah, I couldn't have asked for more, really.
And what is something that you hope that the fans really love about the series?
I hope that the fans are going to love a fresh perspective on a real sci-fi classic, but seeing it from a completely different point of view. And I hope that what they're going to look forward to is the moment where we see those two worlds merge. And things build apace. So if it feels unfamiliar, I would say stick with it. It's exciting the way it evolves, and I love the fact that we're constantly seeing so many different adaptations of this, and to take us into the heart of the Bene Gesserit, I think is really exciting as a viewer.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a great night.
Thank you.
I know you guys, had a very big task, having to, edit and do the cuts and everything, given that, the Dune movies, every shot has a very powerful scene. What were some of the challenges that you faced having to work on the series?
Well, there are so many complex characters in this series, and we want to make sure their storylines are woven together in the best way that they possibly can be. They're so beautifully written, and when we were putting those characters together in such a jam-packed 6 episodes, we wanted to we were really challenged in the best way with an embarrassment of riches to be able to put it together in a lot of different ways and make sure that we were putting it together in the most epic and entertaining way possible.
Is this something that I think audiences are gonna really feel whenever they see every shot? Because I know we were told that you will make sure that you capture, the facial expressions, the eyes, everything.
I mean, it starts with the dailies and the directors and the writing. We were given an embarrassment of riches, so putting together the puzzle pieces and just making the show just reach that epic level that it could be. I think that the fans are going to be happy. I think there's a lot. It's action packed. But it's also character driven. I think our characters are really rich and interesting, and the actors were. It was fantastic to have that footage to put together.
Amazing. Have you worked in anything, like Dune before?
I've been in sci-fi for a long time. I've worked on Watchmen, and we both worked on Westworld together. I did Station 11, and Amelia's done a bunch of sci-fi as well. So we're kind of well versed in the genre.
Amazing. All right. And then what kind of challenges did you have trying to, bring that same feeling that the movies had over to the series?
I think we just started with the character. I don't think we were trying to imitate anything. I think we were trying to take from the rich universe that Dune has to offer, and we were starting with the characters that we were, that are based off the Sisterhood of Dune books.
Yeah, and the Bene Gesserit, amazing characters. So I think starting with that was amazing.
Yes, and so it was really trying to make our own stamp on the Duneverse, so to speak.
Yeah. Of course. So you read the book beforehand?
Amelia read all of them. I read the original Dune.
And Allison and Jordan, who wrote, were the executive producers on the project. They are very, very well known. They know the books back and front, and that's where they base the scripts from. So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Have a great night.